Hi, I'm David. This is Joe. Here's our review for Lady Bird.
I want to go where culture is, like
How
New
in the world
York,
did I raise such a
or at least
snob?
Connecticut or New Hampshire, where writers live in the
Get
woods.
into those schools anyway.
So Lady Bird is a coming-of-age story for a teenager growing up in Sacramento, California. It's mostly a mother-daughter story, but it's quirky enough to where I think anybody can really
relate to this
enjoy it.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved Lady Bird. I was like, I saw this movie before my brother, and then I didn't want to get his expectations too high, because usually when you go into a movie like this, I didn't have high expectations for it, like most of the movies this year or last year rather.
Yeah.
But I went into this movie not knowing what it was about. I just knew that it was a coming of age story, and I loved it. I came back and told everybody you should go see it.
And I was glad I did. I mean,
Yeah.
seeing it throughout the film, you get this feeling of authenticity. All of the actors in it, they talk like real people in real life. Whereas, most big movies, they have, cool lines and they say jokes that make sense and, all this stuff. And it's not always realistic. In this one, there's jokes that don't land. The other characters, have no idea what's going on. Some people stumble kind of through their lines or have awkward pauses.
Yeah.
And it feels,
like real people do.
It feels really natural, and I really like that about the movie.
Yeah, all the actors, the whole ensemble cast here did great. Everybody, there wasn't a poor performance in this movie. It stars Saoirse Ronan, which a lot of people don't know how to say her name. I had to watch a video on her pronouncing her own name.
I think it was, Stephen Colbert?
Yeah, Stephen Colbert, it was on her
I had to
show.
watch that too, because I had no idea how to say it.
Yeah, when I first watched the movie, I was with a friend, and when the credits rolled, I leaned over to him and I said, we gotta look out for that actress, that her name. I was like, we're gonna see it everywhere. I didn't know that she was in lots of other movies.
It's surprising to know that this 23-year-old actress, I mean, she's been in a ton of movies.
Did you know she was in The Lovely Bones?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was the main. She was the main girl.
Another
in The Lovely
great
Bones.
performance.
Because I was like, what is she from? I've seen her in something, and I looked it up. And
I remembered her from watching The Host. Which that movie just kind of fell under the dust and nobody ever...
Yeah, nobody talked about that one.
But, she was good in that too.
Yeah.
And, she's great in this movie. It's funny because she's Irish, right?
Super Irish.
And you totally believe that she's a girl
Sacramento.
growing up in Sacramento. And, and I mean, we've seen that because we're not too far away. We're in the Bay Area.
Yeah, we do live in the Bay Area.
But she totally nails it.
Yeah, no, she does. She gets the Californian accent down, the kind of chilled, laid-back way of talking that we do over here.
Yeah, and she has a really quirky personality.
Yeah, and I like it too because it's not a quirky personality to be a quirky personality.
Yeah.
Most movies, and like in this, the director, I forget her name, but this is her first directorial debut. Like this is it, and she does great. And usually when directors, want to create a character like this, and they're like, oh, well, she'll be quirky and weird because she'll stumble or she'll fall over or something, or she'll have this weird personality trait that's like beats you over the head with it. This one didn't feel like that. She felt like a real person that I was watching.
And especially her jokes. The jokes that she makes are great. And a lot of the other characters will sit around like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah.
And in the audience here, everybody's laughing.
Yeah.
Which is great. And then her mother, the actor,
she was in
Laurie Metcalf?
Yeah.
Laurie Metcalf, I think.
She was in Roseanne.
Was she?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's where I recognize her
she was in
from.
Roseanne.
Yeah, I'm surprised you probably read that.
No, I remember her from Roseanne, but I didn't know why. And I was like, hey, I remember her. I think there was some reruns on TV a while back.
Yeah, she was unlikable in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, you understand, she's the stressed out mom who nags a lot, which is very relatable, I think, for us.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, too, can relate to this. I mean, everybody has mothers who, overreact to things, or like once in a while you argue with them and it's just... But what I like about the arguments in this movie is it's like the arguments don't... I don't know, it feels very real. It's like they'll argue with their family and then the next scene they're grocery shopping.
Yeah. Or even in the same scene.
Or even in the same scene.
They're picking out a dress, they're going back and forth, mother and daughter arguing, and then, is this cute? Do you like that?
Yeah,
and then and then they just and that's so, I feel like, real.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, not everybody has a big fight, blows up, and never talks to their family again. Usually it's, you argue, and then, you're still going to see them and all that, and you go on with life. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and she's totally the type to overreact, which I think it's more relatable. Like, for one example, she says something like, "Oh, somebody just got stabbed there the other day, so I guess you're gonna go there. You're gonna get stabbed and just be dead. I guess that's good." And just like that feeling, that overreaction was just like, "Oh man, I've been there. I've heard that."
It's great. I really liked it. We're gonna get into spoilers in the second half of this video, but that was it for our non-spoiler review of Lady Bird. So go watch it. This is our rating.
Still have to give our ratings.
So what would you rate Lady Bird?
This one was kind of tough. I really liked it. I'm gonna have to give it 5 out of 6. Great fucking movie. Go see it.
Okay. I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to do our 6 out of 6, which is our highest rating, Legendary. I really enjoyed this movie. It's on my top 10 movies of the year list, which that video should be up already when you're watching this review.
I feel like they made this with you in mind. I feel like there's a little, after the Disneyland reference, I was like, oh, he's going to love it.
Okay, so Lady Bird spoilers. What happened in this movie?
Nothing.
So
no, lots of things.
Let's go through the movie.
Okay.
The first scene was hilarious. It was great. The first scene is them, I think, in a hotel. We don't know why they're traveling, but I guess they traveled somewhere, like, not too far. Or I guess very far, because they listened to the entire Grapes of Wrath book.
I can't talk. They're driving in the car. They're just both crying.
They're both crying, and you hear, "You have been listening to the Grapes of Wrath." It's super funny. She takes it out and puts it, in this case, and she's like, "Wow, we've been driving for this long," and they have a laugh, and she tries to turn on the radio, and her mom's like, "Oh, well, let's just sit with this," and she's like, "Are you serious?" Like, and you could already see, like, they have this kind of relationship, and then the mom kind of rolls her eyes, like, of course you can't sit still and not listen to something. And then she starts arguing about Sacramento. I want to get out of here. She wants to move to New York or someplace like that. She wants to move.
She just wants to be far, pretty much.
Very far from Sacramento.
As far as I can. I just want to go.
Yeah. And her mom's, like, no, you don't need to go out there, or we don't have the money to send you out there. You don't have that privilege.
Yeah.
And she calls her Christine, her given name.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm Lady Bird.
I'm Lady Bird. You call me Lady Bird. And she goes, no, that's ridiculous. That's stupid. And she throws herself out of the car. At that moment, the whole audience was like,
oh shit.
Yeah, like, holy shit, she just jumped out of the car.
From that point, it kind of sets you up like, oh, I'm going to fucking love this movie.
Yeah, I was
right
like,
from there.
She just jumped out of the car.
Okay, this is great.
Yeah, and the next scene, it says, like, fuck you on her cast or something, and she's got a cast on now.
Yeah.
And then we go into this montage of kind of her life at school, which I really liked. It was just showing, her day-to-day life.
Repetition. And just
Catholic school, the kind of routine she goes through that she kind of wants to break out of.
Yeah.
And I really liked that. And then we get into, like, the relationship between her and her best friend. She was in Neighbors too. I don't remember her name.
Yeah.
But she did really good in this movie too, as her
character. I think her character name was Julie.
Julie, yeah.
And yeah, she was cool. She was funny. You could tell, like, she was such a real character. Like, you feel like this person totally exists. And they were best friends, great relationship, and then she starts going after a boy, blonde guy.
Yeah.
And she kind of jumps into acting and theater acting to really get with this guy.
Another reason I thought this movie was made for me.
Another one. I was like, oh, you love, theater and whatnot.
Because she's trying to, get into these. She wants to do, like, extracurricular stuff to look better on paper. So she wants to join, like, the mathletes or something. Yeah. And she's like, you're not very good at math. And she's like, we don't know that yet. That we know of yet. And she goes, well, what about theater? They're having auditions for the next show. And then so she goes there and she meets this boy, which the audition was really funny. They have her singing. And at first I thought she was going to be a really good singer. Just because it just seems like that's what kind of movie. I was like, oh, I mean, she's going to sing really good and get, like, the lead role. She sings terribly. She sings terribly and awkward, but it was funny and it was cringeworthy and, like, in, like, not a weird way.
Yeah,
like,
and all the auditions were a little cringy.
Yeah,
but then at the end you found out, okay, well, everybody made it because
And she goes, congratulations, you made it. And she's like, yeah, we all did. She erases her name on the thing, writes Lady Bird.
Yeah,
but yeah,
she gets with the guy.
Yeah,
and then they,
This is where I thought the movie was gonna take a turn. I thought this movie was all gonna be about like most.
Well, I think what this
stories.
movie did great is the major story arc is her and her mom. That's the heart of the story.
Yeah.
And you're not going to completely get that until, more towards the end.
Yeah.
So at this point, you think, okay, we already know her day-to-day life. Here's the setup for her and this guy.
Yeah.
That's going to be the focus. But it's a small part
Yeah.
of the story,
And
which
that's
I
what I
thought was
really
great.
liked, yeah.
And, kept me interested the whole time because, okay, so they go through this, they fall in love, and everything looks great. I mean, he knows she's in a much poorer family, and he's a kind dude.
Yeah, and
he's really nice
he has a
about
lot
it.
of money.
Yeah,
and
and
his grandparents have
Mhm.
her dream house.
Yep.
This really big, beautiful blue house that her and her friend dream about living
Yeah.
in one day.
And she comes over on Thanksgiving, and they all treat her well, and she's accepted, and
Yeah.
it's great. And then they're laying together at night in the like a garden or
She
something.
says, "You can touch my boobs if you want."
Yeah, I respect you too much.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That was the first.
Yeah.
The first kind of.
Yeah.
And like, oh, well,
Yeah.
he's just a nice guy.
Yeah, and then
right?
she's like, "If you had boobs, I wouldn't touch them either."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay, thank you."
that was great.
And they name a star Bruce or whatever.
Yeah, it's their star.
Yeah.
And then,
they go to like I guess like a cafe or something.
oh yeah,
Yeah, they go to a
that's
cafe.
when you kind of like another little hint, the beginning
Yeah.
of the end.
Yeah, because they go to a cafe
hmm
and there's this like local band that's
Mhm.
playing, just like some high schoolers that
Yeah.
go to their school. And there's this one guy with like kind of long hair
hmm
that kind of looks
He
at
looks at her.
our
and she
main
looks at-
character.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
make eye contact, and then
And-
they kind of look away.
Yeah, and I was
And
like,
then-
oh, does she like this other
Yeah,
dude?
at first I was gonna be mad. I was like,
Yeah.
is she gonna leave him just because this guy looked at her like?
Yeah,
Are they gonna break up because
but
of
no,
this?
she kisses her boyfriend,
Yeah.
the blonde guy, and it's like, oh, everything's great.
Mhm.
But then her and her friend have to go to the bathroom, and they go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
There's a long line, and she goes, "How long are you guys gonna be? I drank too much
Yeah.
soda." And they go, "Fuck you." So she's like, you know what? Let's go to the boys' bathroom. There's
Mhm.
never a line there.
Yeah.
So they go to the boys' bathroom and look in the stall.
Mhm.
Uh-oh.
Her boyfriend's making out with his friend, just
Yeah.
hardcore, just all
Mhm.
over each other.
Another man.
Yeah, it was
or
like, oh
boy.
man. She,
And it was so quick, too.
Yeah,
She
it
walks
just
in,
happens.
opens it, walks
It was
right
like,
back out, and
totally
then they're in a
didn't expect
car.
that.
Yeah, then they're in a car, her and her friend crying, listening to a song. And-
something sad.
Yeah, and you're just kind of
Yeah.
like, oh,
Wow,
Oh, crap.
didn't see that coming.
yeah.
And I was like, well, now
Yeah.
where are we gonna go? And then the next section, she goes after the
Yeah.
guy in the band,
Yeah.
and,
And
then
it sucks because the play is over.
Mhm.
You know, it shows right after that
Yeah.
they finish the play. The director of the play is going through some issues.
Yeah.
One of her teachers, and
that
now,
was another funny scene too. When he was like,
when he's,
all right, we're gonna have a competition. Let's see, whoever cries first wins. And then like 2 seconds in,
he
he's like,
starts crying, and I almost laughed at first. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, haha, he's crying
he had a
first.
little goof.
Yeah, but then I was like, oh, he has a problem.
Yeah.
But so now this is where our main character is. She's trying to find herself, this whole movie,
Mhm.
and this is where she's like, okay, gotta change.
Yeah, well, this is
personality.
like the hardcore, like doing it by the book, 3-act structure.
Yeah.
This is the midpoint of the second act, which
Mhm.
is she goes from responding and reacting to everything to now she takes action. Something happened, and now she's gonna do whatever
Yeah,
she thinks she needs to do. So she sends out the college letters. She
Yeah.
goes after the guy she
yeah.
wants.
She convinces her dad to go
Mhm.
behind her mom's back
Mhm.
and apply for all these like
Faraway
help-
colleges.
Yeah, faraway colleges and financial aid.
Mhm.
And yeah, she applies to all of them,
Mhm.
and she wants to go after this other guy.
Yeah, she sees him at
She
the
got a
coffee
new
shop.
job,
She
yeah,
approaches
at a
him,
Yeah,
and he's like, the manager comes out and is like, "I don't pay you to flirt." And then he's like, "I'm
I
not
wasn't-
flirting."
Yeah.
And then the guy goes, "I wish you were." And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
"Ah."
she's like, yeah, she's like, oh, okay. So this boy likes me. And
Yeah.
she's like, but I need to get into his friend group.
Mhm.
He's one of the popular kids.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, well, how do I get into his friend group? Oh, well, the popular girl
Mhm.
is in one of my classes. So the popular chick in the story is
Mhm.
telling some story about how she was having sex with somebody and her mom calls during it.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, did you pick up? And she's like, yeah. And then she like, I think,
Julie
yeah.
was like, "Oh, did you pick up?"
Yeah.
And you could tell like they're just two people, like Julie and her new friend Jenna, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They're total opposites.
Yeah.
They don't belong near each other, and that kind of shows
Yeah.
it a little more. And then
The nun comes by and says, let me see your skirts, and
Mhm.
she scolds Jenna and says, I'm going to give you a citation or
Mhm.
whatever because your skirt's too small.
Mhm.
And then she's like, oh, I hate her. And Lady Bird says, "Oh well, I know how to get back at her. We'll spray paint her car or whatever." They put like "Just Married to Jesus" on the back of her car, and then she lies to
her friend Julia's like, "What? You love that nun?"
Yeah,
and you can tell that's the
and then
moment she's
like,
kind of
yeah,
tearing away.
But like she's a bitch.
No, yeah,
like,
whatever. She's a cunt.
Yeah.
And just you see right there, she's
and she even
separating.
says, "Oh, you can't do anything tonight because we have the audition for the play, the new play."
And she gives that up
And,
too.
Yeah, and she says, "I don't want to do the audition. I don't want to do the play."
What's funny is her ex-boyfriend looked really disappointed that
Yeah.
she wasn't there, but it's like, you know what you did.
Yeah,
you left her for somebody else.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but that happens, and she lies to her new friend. She tells her that she lives at the dream house, which was her ex-boyfriend's grandparents' house. And she's like, "Oh yeah, that was where one of my starter homes were. It was on that street."
We started out there, but now
And
from the bottom.
she's like, "Oh, we should hang out with this guy. I think Kyle was maybe his name,
Probably
something like that."
close enough.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, he's at the Deuce, which is just some
A parking
parking lot."
lot, yeah.
And she goes there and talks to him, and they hit it off, and they have their own relationship. But it's different than her last one. Her last one was more fun. They both joked around with each other.
Yeah.
This one, he kind of
She could be herself. This one, she had to kind of pretend to be somebody else.
Yeah.
And then they hook up, or they start to hook up, and she's like, "Wait, I'm a virgin. I can't do this."
And he says, "I am too."
Yeah. And
so they don't do it that night.
But then they come back to it, and then she's finally ready to go, and they hook up.
For like 2 seconds.
Yeah, for about 2 seconds.
"Are you done?" "Yep."
Yeah.
She goes, "Okay, sorry, I was confused."
Yeah. And then she's like, "Man, we deflowered each other," and he's just kind of sitting there like.
And then
What?
she's like, "I'm just really happy." And he's like, "I didn't lose my virginity to you." She's like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, I lost it to this other girl."
Yeah. It's just like, and then she starts getting mad, and he's like, "You're deciding to be mad."
She's like, "No, I am mad." He's
That
like,
was great.
"Yeah, because you're deciding to be."
Yeah. And then
And it was a really good scene.
Yeah.
And she asks, like, she's mad. He just kind of goes back and starts reading his book, and she goes, "Are we still going to prom together?" Sure.
And it's sad. You could tell, she wants so bad for people to like her, but this person just doesn't give a shit. And she still goes to prom with him, or at least tries to.
He honks.
Yeah.
He goes outside and he honks, and her dad says, "You're not really about to get into a car with a man who just honked, right?"
Yeah.
She's like, "Yeah, I am."
Yeah, so disappointing. But then, she gets dropped off at Julie's house instead.
Yeah.
And, they kind of get back. Then all the friendship and the school and all the teenage drama arcs, they kind of end right there.
Yeah, they kind of end.
And it's good, she ends with her and her friend out there kind of enjoying the view, knowing they're going to go their separate ways after.
Yeah.
It's a little sad. And then you move to the actual end.
Which is her. She finally gets a letter in the mail that she got accepted to a college in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And the dad has to refinance their house. Oh, man.
Yeah.
To pay for her to go there.
And her ex-boyfriend drops the bomb right on the mom at the restaurant.
It's so quick too. Another quick scene. He walks up, "Oh, hi," and she's like, "Oh, hey, congratulations," or whatever. And he's like, "So, did you hear about the wait list yet?" And the dad goes, "Fuck."
Fuck. And then the mom's like, "What?" And then
and the mom wonn't talk to her daughter anymore.
No.
She won't speak to Lady Bird at all. She's
all the way up into the point where she's dropping her off at the airport, and she goes, "Bye."
Yeah.
And then she's like,
"You're not gonna come up?" She goes, "They don't let you up there anyway, so it's too expensive to park there."
And then so she leaves, goes into the airport, and I'm so glad because I totally thought this was going to be the cliche. The mom goes running through the airport and, finds her at the last second, tells her, "Oh, I really love you and everything's going to be okay," and all this. But that's not what happens.
No.
She runs, she goes, "Oh, man," and she chases after her and she goes, but it's too late. She's already gone. She already left.
The dad kind of consoles her, hugs her, says, "Oh, yeah, she'll be back. Don't worry." And now we're off to New York.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy that we actually get to see her go to New York.
Mm-hmm.
I was really hoping the movie wasn't going to end there.
I mean, it would have been okay enough if it would have ended there.
Yeah.
It would have been really bittersweet, but
I
really appreciate that we get to see her go to New York.
Yeah, and I almost wanted this movie to be even longer than it was. Like, I just really like seeing these characters' lives.
Yeah, that's one thing about really good characters. It's like once it's over, it's like, oh, well, what happens next?
Yeah, I was so interested in seeing her life, and it was just like, I almost forgot I was watching a movie, and I think that's what great movies do. I was, near the end, I was like, okay, well, let's just keep going. Like, what's her next day like? I just want to see her day-to-day life.
I thought it was totally funny, though, as people who grow up in California.
In the Bay.
She's at the party, and she tells him, "Oh yeah, I'm from Sacramento," and the guy goes, "What?
Where?
Where?"
She goes, San Francisco.
San Francisco. And then,
Oh,
yeah.
such
It's
a
like,
nice
it's
city.
So true. Because I mean, if you're from anywhere other than San Francisco, nobody knows.
Yeah.
They're like, "What's that?"
We also
You know?
live in like a suburbs
Yeah.
area
Mhm.
around the city, so it's
Mhm.
when we go anywhere else that's
Yeah.
not here,
Mhm.
people ask, "Where are you from?" We're San Francisco. Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice, big city.
Yeah.
We're
Like,
like,
yeah,
sure.
close enough.
Yeah.
And then, but then, yeah, she gets the letters, and that her dad sent her because her mom was worried about, typos or not looking well
Yeah, it
or
was-
whatever.
It's funny. He was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, she was gonna give it to you, but she was worried that you were gonna correct her writing skills."
Yeah.
And she's like, "I wouldn't have done that."
And then, so she reads the letters. Her mom talks about how she really loved her and all this, and it was great.
Yeah.
And I think the overall message was what the nun said earlier, that attention is basically sometimes the same thing as love.
Yeah.
And that was the message. That her mom still loved her, and then
Yeah.
they loved each other. It was a good,
Yeah. She goes outside.
feel good
and she
moment.
calls her mom, explaining how like the first time she drove in Sacramento,
Mhm.
she got emotional.
Yeah.
And she was like, "It was really nice seeing all these turns that I knew my whole life." And
Yeah.
she's like, "Yeah, I love you, Mom. I go by Christine now.
Yeah.
She's no longer Lady Bird."
Mhm.
That whole
She evolves.
yeah,
great.
that entire time in her life is over
Mhm.
of being Lady Bird, and that's when the movie Lady
Yeah.
Bird ends.
Yeah. So it was a great movie
Yeah.
overall.
I really
and
liked it.
Totally. I think we pretty much broke it all down.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's what we thought of 2017's Lady Bird. We're now in 2018, so time to review the movies of this year.
Yeah. We'll get
All
on
right.
it.